That's just looking right on at me. I mean, it was a beautiful day and a beautiful smile, and look at those blue eyes.
Tammy Lynn Lamondin-Gagnon went missing in 1999 when she was just 20 years old. Her mother, Lamondin-Gagnon, has been looking for closure for the past 16 years.
We haven't heard a peep or a sound, any contact over these years. And the mother knows, just feels it. But I believe she's in heaven and has been.
For the first year, more than 100 people were looking for Tammy on and off in York Region where she went missing. By the next year, it was just Jacqueline and her son, Tammy's older brother, Darren.
48, I think, off of 48.
Tammy's case is a cold case. The police are no longer actively searching for her. Jacqueline has moved back to her hometown of Parry Sound and is working with lawyer Joanne Bolding to try to get a death certificate for Tammy.
An Aboriginal woman who's been declared is missing. You can't look after their estate. It's very difficult to have a drumming out ceremony or any funeral or a wake or any kind of rites like that.
A time to love and a time to hate. A time of war and a time of peace.
Jacqueline says when Tammy went missing, she didn't realize her First Nations background could even have been a consideration.
I didn't push the fact that she was Native. I may have told the police, yes, we have our, we're First Nation people, but I mean, someone's nationality shouldn't have anything to do with treatment.
Jacqueline wants Tammy's life to be remembered.
Yeah, Tammy was very industrious. She held down 2 jobs. She was into yoga, numerology, nature. She wanted to become a marine biologist.
Tammy's aspirations were taken away. Her mother is determined to see her spirit live on, and the much-anticipated inquiry is tied to that hope.
If I die in 2 months' time, I'm okay with that because I know I'll go to heaven and see my daughter, but also to know that other people are going to be properly taken care of or helped in this situation, which no parent needs to go through. Thank you.
"500 missing and murdered, 500 taken and gone."
Tammy is my second child, my beautiful daughter. She was a loving sister, an admired cousin, a helpful niece, and a trusted friend. But most of all, she made me proud to be her mother. I miss Tammy's smile, sound of her voice and her laughter, looking into her blue eyes, cherishing her hugs and her kisses, watching her grow into a woman. Her always outdoors fresh scent, her sense of style, her compassion for others, her kindness, her honesty, her adventurous side, and her enthusiasm for life. My baby girl was a unique person. She wanted to become a marine biologist. She loved music and was learning how to play the guitar. She enjoyed listening and creating poetry. She was taking driving lessons. She knew love and gave love in her short life. She was only 20 years old. Then a large, heavy, dark cloud moved in and stayed. I realized I had 2 choices in dealing with this realistic nightmare: to opt out of life entirely and never face the world again, or to endure openly and honestly the depth of my loss. I decided to become an active participant in searching for Tammy and never to give up on hope in finding her. My son Darren gave me the courage to choose hope rather than despair. I relied on God to help me get done what needed to be done. With contacting the media, post missing person posters, organizing search parties, but mostly I worried about how all this was affecting my son Darren. I know I would never recover if something should happen to Darren. The loss would be unbearable. I felt powerless and helpless to help my son deal with this ordeal. There was nothing I could offer him except to stand by him. He and Tammy were only a year apart and as close as siblings can be. I didn't attend the inside of our church except for Tammy's memorial service on October the 8th in 2003. But I did spend a lot of time in nature where I consider the forest to be my cathedral. It makes me feel closer to Tammy. I planned to stay all day at a special spot, and I would bring food, my Bible, Tammy's favorite music, smokes, and a joint. Mother-daughter movies are always bittersweet to watch, knowing I'll never experience these moments with my daughter, like sharing moments with her, finding true love, planning a marriage ceremony, having children and grandchildren, enjoying a career, reminiscing family events. This reminds me of the effect that concentric circles makes when a stone is thrown into a pond. Tammy was God's gift to me. It seems some days I take 2 steps forward only to go back 3. Tears spring up when I get reminders of Tammy, like by something I see, hear, or smell. Special events bring back bittersweet memories too. Birthdays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, or Tammy's anniversary death is especially difficult. I believe no pain exceeds that of an anguished and heartbroken parent. I love reading my Bible, and I realized I have to forgive this perpetrator for what he has done and learn to love my enemies so I can be able to see Tammy again and forever. My intention has been and continues to be to honor Tammy's life while acknowledging her absence. You don't ever get over it. You go through it and you learn to live with the loss. I not only lost Tammy to murder, but I also lost my best friend, my confidant. And I know a part of me died with her. I will always, for the rest of my life, feel some grief over Tammy's death. After my operation in 2016, I remember coming out of the anesthesia telling my nurses, "My daughter Tammy is missing." It was the first thought that came to me. I'm grateful to have met someone with whom I could share my experience with. Someone who had undergone the same nightmare. In 2016, I attended my first Murdered and Missing Indigenous Women and Girls pre-inquiry held in Toronto, and I found what I was looking for. I was told a story, a true story, can heal as much as medicine can. The mind does what it can to soothe itself in an unbearable, painful situation. Sharing, listening, and then acknowledging definitely helps.
500 missing and murdered, 500 taken and gone, 500 laughs not heard, 500 songs not sung. How long is this to go on? Not one more, pray not one. Too many stars fill heaven, too many souls undone.
Dakota is 6 feet tall with a medium build. His long brown wavy hair falls over his high cheekbones and his skinny face and his big brown eyes. He lives in a big mansion down on his reserve, and rumor has it that he travels with a girlfriend. This is an old book. I've had it since, well, when she was born. It's all about Trish. She was my life when she was born. A lot of birthday pictures, a lot of memories of her in here. And every time you saw her, she had a smile on her face. Every picture you see, she's always smiling. She was always smiling, always had a smile on her face. You know what? She loved her Cabbage Patch dolls. She was 6, 7, 8, I guess, when she got her first one. Put them at the table with her. Or she'd have them in her crib. Yeah, she was just being a little girl, playing with her dolls. I always used to make sure she had lots of dish sets to play with her babies, and she'd play upstairs. Yeah, she'd play for hours with them, hours and hours, and you could hear her talking and babbling on like she was talking to you and me, you know? Just, yeah. She was such a happy child, such a happy, happy child. Just. She adored her brothers. Oh my gosh. James was the light of her life, light of her eyes, right? And Patrick and her were very close, 14 months apart. Yeah, they did everything together, all the time together. You'll see in the pictures, it's just the two of them. You know, and Jamie, when Jamie came along, it was James this, James that. She loved her brothers. Yeah, she was kind of a mama figure to her brothers, so yeah.
Some of the memories, I guess, if I'm thinking about it right now, you know, she took care of us. She watched over us. As I started thinking about these memories, I didn't like the dark. I remember I just did not like the dark or being alone. And I remember she would take me somewhere into the dark and she'd be like, okay, let's go sit in the dark. Let's go sit down there in the basement. Our basement was creepy. And she'd be like, let's go sit in that basement down there. I'm gonna turn off all the lights. So we go sit in the basement, we turn off all the lights, and she'd be there, and I'd be there, and I'd be like, I'm scared. She's like, there's nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing to be afraid of. This is your house. It's just the basement. You know exactly what it looks like. And then she did something to help me get through that fear. She said, let's walk upstairs. And she goes, you lead the way. And believe it or not, because it's our basement, I know where everything is, and you just visualize it, right? And I walked out of that basement, out of the dark. And I remember that's what it was. She was trying to teach us not to be afraid of things.
I grew up with James and my Auntie Patricia and PJ, right? I just always remember, like, when I was little, my memory's not very good, but I do remember being at my nanny's house with my Auntie Patricia a lot. So it was like us kids, you know, we were always together. I just remember She was like my cool aunt. She was one of my favorite aunties. Like, no matter what situation it was, she made it fun, and she was always laughing and smiling. It was like she wanted to make people feel good, like, and comfortable. It's like she just loved life. One day, she was babysitting me, and then I kept on asking her, "Can you please dye my hair blonde?" And then she took me to the sink and she was like, "Okay, fine then, I'll dye your hair blonde." So she grabbed the bleach and she like put my head upside down and dipped my hair in the bleach in the sink. And I was like, "Is it turning blonde yet?" And she's like, "I think so." But I don't think that's the way that you turn hair blonde. Because I remember I was like, "Thank you so much, Auntie Patricia. I love you so much. Thank you so much for dyeing my hair blonde." And she's like, "You're welcome." But she was different and she was really cool, you know. Just her clothes, like the way that she carried herself she was just a cool person. That's why I looked up to her.
She had a real, I guess, a real confidence in how she walked. And this was from a young age. She just carried that confidence. Also, in our area where we grew up, we were the only Aboriginal kids for like miles. So you know, she had this step to her about, you know, this is who I am, and this is, you know, who I'm gonna be. And my brother didn't enjoy it as much, but you know, when we used to play together, you know, she would always play like as if she was the mother. And you know, and her being the mother, there wasn't anything as a child in her characteristics that was strict or that was mean. It was all about nurturing and taking care of, you know, we were the children, she was the mom, we used to play, we used to have bunk beds. And she used to, you know, tuck us in, make sure that we were all right, and you know, she'd play mom all the time.
She would watch him and play with him, and you know, and if he needed to be fed, she'd shove a bottle in his mouth. And yeah, just at that small age, young age, she had really, really good maternal instincts, really. And you could see that with her brothers. And then when James came along, oh gosh, yeah, that was her baby. James was her, because he was so much younger. She doted on him like a mother. She always wanted to be a mom. She always talked about being a mom. That's why she had her Cabbage Patch, her dolls. You could see her. You could see the mom in her, even as young as she was. Yeah.
Oh, he hasn't slept since 9 o'clock, except for about an hour.
Wow,
And he's starting to sleep all night now.
is he?
Yeah.
Great.
Check me when he asks all these questions. See if he'll lift himself up.
I asked her, because I knew that I saw the change. I saw her putting on the weight. And I just asked her, "Are you pregnant?" And she started crying and she said, "Yes, Mom, I'm sorry." I says, "Well, it's done. It can't be undone. I wouldn't want it undone. It's just that you're only 14. How are you going to do this? How are you going to manage this?" Her response was, "I have you." And I said, "Yeah, yeah, you do have me and your dad and your brothers. And we came together and supported her, and, you know, took baby, cared for baby. She was so proud, 14 years old. Really, really, very, very proud to be a mom. Very proud. And 14 going on 30, basically. Yeah. Yeah.
She was there, and she was with the baby, and, you know, we sat down, we were in the house, we had the baby, and she had started off, and she was at the wonderful place, Jesse's place, but she was there to just get her mothering skills up to par, but also just to be a part of something, like of young mothers. And she voluntarily went there to help out with this stuff. And when I got home, I remember she was there. She was there just like a regular mom was. I remember the first time I had him, I didn't know how to hold a baby, right? So I had Dakota, he was just a little pea, and I had him in my hands, and I was like, so, and she's like, oh, wait, grab him, like, you have to, like, cradle him. Don't grab him like that. And I'm like, and I remember I was sitting there like a robot holding this little baby, and she's just watching me, right? You know, my sister, she was a very caring and loving person. And, you know, she carried these values of family, so important. You know, it was very, very important. Take care of your family, love your family, make sure they're okay. You know, this is the kind of stuff that, you know, this is who she was.
I would want people to know that my auntie was a beautiful, kind spirit that took care of everybody. And she brought light and love and laughter into the lives of everybody she met. I just want my Auntie Patricia's memory to live on, you know, that she was a good person with the whole life ahead of her, with dreams and talent, you know, and a son that she never got to raise.
She would have been a beautiful mom, awesome mom. She probably would have had more children by now. For 6 weeks, she was a good mom, and that's, if Dakota only knew how loving and how caring she was. So he walks alone. He walks on this earth alone. She walks beside him. And when he has kids, when his time comes, when he meets somebody and he has kids, and he has to tell his kids about their grandmother, it breaks my heart because I don't know what he's going to say to them.
Here's Dakota again, and today is September 22nd of 1992. And he is now 2 months and 4 days. He's 2 months and 4 days. And he's starting to laugh. He's gotten bigger, a lot bigger. He's 12 pounds right now. 12 pounds, 12 pounds, 6 ounces, I think he is. Well, he probably gained more. I guess you can hear my voice.
to know. She lived. She only lived 14 years, but by golly, she lived. And I'll still say it over and over. This is about her life. I just wish she was here. I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be doing this story on her. I shouldn't be telling her story. But I am, and I'm not going to stop. She was my girl. I love her, miss her. We all do. And I'm hoping by telling her story that you guys will all get to know her and riding along on this journey with me. I appreciate it. Love you all. Thank you. It's a story that Patricia wrote about Dakota, but she was going to school, so she wrote it as a school project. I'll read some of it to you. The title she put on here is Musicians in Their Own Time, 07-1892. Dakota is 6 feet tall with a medium build. His long brown wavy hair falls over his high cheekbones and his skinny face and his big brown eyes. The famous singer travels in his own jet with his 4-person band, crew and bodyguards. He lives in a big mansion down on his reserve. He lives peacefully with his band, who are his best friends. And rumor has it that he travels with a girlfriend. Dakota James lives on his reserve so he can be close to all his family, especially his mom and dad, who I hear he loves a lot and would do anything for. There it is, the story of the brand new band named after Dakota James, which is making history in the year 2017. As Dakota would say, live long and live dangerously. Signing off, Patricia Carpenter.
My phone now.
Let's see if he'll. He's a little bit tired, so he won't look that way. Usually when he's like this, he'll lift his head right up. No, he's going to sleep.
The things that we can learn is much. So what do I want people to learn? I want them to learn much. And I would like them to learn some truth, that our sister is a human being, not a statistic, that our sister had a life and a loving home. I want them to know our sister and the many like her, their lives, not their death, their lives.
Thoughts in mind. The rain is falling gently. It is a light drizzle. As I walk alone, I sort my sorrows from my happiness. My feet are wet, my hands are cold, but I walk on, bit by bit.
Yeah, there used to be a bush there, Meg.
Right here?
Yeah, back here. Wow. Look at all the stuff, eh? Wow.
It was the center of our life, really. You know, this was not just a house, this was our home. This was a real home. What kind of sounds would you hear from here? Oh my gosh, all kinds of sounds, like laughter was probably a big one. Screaming at each other and arguing was another big one, right? Singing was another thing we did a lot of here. Like I think you guys had a little like singing troupe, you and Sonya.
Yeah.
Her name is Sonya Nadine May, but we always called her Sonya. It was like that was her name. That was her, you know. Yeah, I think she would always let everybody else go first. Like even when we were playing hopscotch or we were playing skip rope, swinging on the swings, like she would always wait her turn. And she was never somebody that had to be first. So yeah, I think she always put people, her nature was to put people ahead of everyone else whenever she could. She was the epitome of like selfless.
Growing up, especially with Sonya, it was a lot of fun. We had to be around maybe 8 and 10. In our bedroom, there's like just a plain wall. So she had brought chalk home, and we started pretending we were teachers. I remember I had to sit there and pretend I was a student, and she was a teacher. You know, we're sitting down upstairs, and she goes, and there was just the two of us. And she goes, we should paint the bedroom. Hey, Mom, can we paint our bedroom? So my mom goes, thinks about it, and she goes, yeah, okay, sure. She was, yeah. She was, what color? So Sonya goes, black. She wanted to paint the whole bedroom black. And so, of course, my mom looks at her, and she goes, why? She goes, your chalk's not bright enough. We weren't very wealthy, but we were rich in other ways. So I've always known this place to be home.
You know, it didn't cost anything for that happiness, for that joy and willingness to live life fully. And I think that that's something I would have to say that Sonya would want other people to be, is to live life with this incredible amount of joy and happiness.
We used to go around, Sonya and I, we used to go check cars. So if we found a car, we'd sit in there and just pretend we're driving and, you know, that sort of thing. We come across this one vehicle, open. So of course I hop in the driver's side, Sonya's in the passenger's side, and we're going like this, and we're talking, we're kind of, you know, pretending. I grabbed the gear, and I, you know, because I didn't know what it was. So of course I just pulled the gear. So me and Sonya are kind of freaking out, and I'm kind of just steering, like I'm just kind of going like this. And all of a sudden we bump into these two, like one of the big poles, and these poles were huge.
It was a summer's day. You know, we're outside playing, and when we heard this large crash, we all go running over towards the noise, and a car had hit the pole.
So of course Sonya and I were kind of scared, and we're trying to think of something to say.
And so we go, you know, running over to this vehicle and ran into our sisters, Sonya and Stacy, and they're like, oh, the car, it went and it hit that pole.
And so we all sitting down at the dinner table. Nobody's saying anything. So of course Sonya and I are eating, we're not saying anything either, because we're thinking, like we got away with this, right?
So I decided to investigate, you know. So I walked over to the car and I looked around and I could see these little green apples in the back seat. And I was like, uh-oh.
Nothing ever happened. So years later, I asked my mom, I said, I go, you knew that was me and Son, right? And she goes, oh yeah, we knew that was you. And then I go, well, how did you guys know it was me and Son? And my mom goes, well, we found a bag of green apples in the front seat. Because we used to have 2 apple trees by there. We used to always pick the apples, and they're, you know, salt and the green apples. So that was our evidence.
The last time we were ever here, oh my gosh.
I can't remember the age. So, and I know we still came here every summer. Like we still came here like in June.
14.
Yeah, yeah, we still say, let's go berry picking. And we always came together. She never came by herself.
No, Son wasn't that type of person to go very many, even locally, by herself anywhere. A lot of memories here, eh?
No kidding.
A lot of good memories.
Yeah.
A lot of like happy memories.
No kidding.
Here, there were raspberries, like the high trees. And then down there along the roadway, it was mostly strawberries. So we picked strawberries and raspberries.
Yeah. You know, so she was always normally the one who was motivated to say, let's go do it, you know, and I would just go with her. You know, our Margaret, you know, would come along.
She was a pretty good organizer, eh, Stace?
Oh, yeah, she was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She would motivate people.
Yeah.
You know, she would inspire people, give them this sort of like a purpose. I think that this was her calling, to be able to like lift people up and give them a purpose also.
Yeah.
We would come here, all of us would come here, especially around Christmas time, like Easter and stuff, and we would come to the church. And that's where we get to socialize with everybody during that time. I think it was just like a spur the moment, like a bubbly kind of spur in terms of, oh, let's go Christmas caroling. And from there we had to practice. She instilled that upon us. So to empower us to go around the reserve and sing Christmas Eve and in cold weather and be able to sing with each other and have each of our own personal little nuances to come out. Yeah, I was nervous, but I don't think we were the ones that, it was Sonya that knocked on the door. She did put us at the front of it, and she took the role of being behind. You know, so I think definitely empowering us further, you know, in that process.
And then just kind of quietly just came at the back, so the rest of us were all in the front, right? She didn't, you know, want the spotlight. I don't think it was just more she's there just kind of in case we needed her, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it seemed like when Sonya left here to go to the city, that's basically when I stopped. So it's been
what, when she was 16, eh?
Yeah. So I never
17.
came here again, or I never went to pick strawberries anymore.
I missed, you know, her being back. I don't remember caroling the year after.
Sonya moved here in the late 80s, I believe. There were 3 sisters living in London and a brother. So they sort of found social life and careers here, work. So that's how she came to be here. By this time, I had realized or understood that she was struggling. So that whole period, I don't know how many years, it seems like forever when you're in that position. A month can feel like a half a year. It's just difficult. So eventually, you know, she would be doing well, and I'd hear from other siblings, oh, she's doing it. Oh, that's good, I would hear. And then I'd hear, oh, she's not doing so well.
bit by bit. I plan the future. The good things are grand if they are always there, waiting to be picked up and put away, but the sorrows are there also. They are the binders of life. Without hardships, life is nothing.
That day is always with me. Was in August. The phone rang, and I answered it, and all I could hear was shh, a noise, some kind of like. And within a minute, the phone rang again. I figured the person, crank call, whatever, or the person decided to talk. So I pick up the phone. I'm like, hello. It's shocking. That's my memory of a shock.
February 20th, 1992. Hi, Dad. How have you been? I hope one and all are fine and in the best of health. I miss you and think of you often throughout my day and in my prayers. I myself am doing great. Couldn't be better. My life here in London is treating me well. I do get homesick for the life I grew up with, though. I look back at my childhood now, and I was lucky to have what I had. And right now, today, I am more than lucky to be alive, clean, and sober. But thank God I am here where I am today. I am learning a whole bunch about myself, both mentally and spiritually. It's great, and I love myself again. I'm discovering who Sonya is and what she wants out of life, one day at a time. Geez, I feel good. Maybe because I'm writing to you. I know this is short, but isn't it sweet? Your loving daughter, Sonya. The things that we can learn, even just from a picture, is much. So what do I want people to learn? I want them to learn much. And I would like them to learn some truth, that our sister is a human being, not a statistic, that our sister had a life and a loving home. I want them to know that she had hopes and dreams that will never come to fruition. She could have been an alchemist, a grandmother by now, and it won't come to pass. I want them to know our sister and the many like her, their lives, not their death, their lives. She had a laugh, infectious, loud. When she laughed, oh, that's her. You can tell from the people's laugh who they are. Just someone who loved life. That's what I'd like them to learn.
drop falls from my face. It feels like rain, but is salt. Does this mean sadness? No, it means growing up. Slowly I turn and walk home, thinking the warmness of my bed. I walk on, eyes turn. Is it raining out? That night I slept well. Sonya.
Sister, sister, I want you to know you are so strong and beautiful.